Hey everybody, welcome to New York Nerd Show and Call of the Wild. I am joined as always by Lord Cash. I am all that Pat. Lord Cash, how are you this fine night?
I am doing wonderful, man.
That is great to hear as always. It's a great night tonight. It is a Sunday. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going to be sharing some of the pickups that I got in our recent vacation to New Hampshire. Now, have you ever been to New Hampshire? Anywhere this far north, Lord Cash?
So I know from Florida, I've driven up to Maine.
Okay.
I don't know if I went through there. I know that we stopped in a couple places going up that way, but I'm not sure if we actually trying to think of actually where New Hampshire is. I would imagine we went up 75 or 95 to get there.
95, yeah. You would have to go because funny thing on a sidebar, when we were in New Hampshire, I was thinking in the back of my mind maybe we can go to Maine. So we're actually at a historical area in a place called Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and they had this like place that they had these like character actors, like they're pretending they're in the 1800s still.
Okay.
So I talked to one of the employees that was working there as well, like the real person that's here now. I'm like, so how far are we away from Maine? Just out of curiosity, and like, see that bridge over there? Maine. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we just So in order to get to Maine, you have to go through New Hampshire. So you've been there. For if nothing else, a cup of coffee and maybe a tank of gas.
There you go. Let's do that.
So if you do ever find yourself up into that area, there actually are quite a few really cool video game stores. And we went to quite a few of them. Bitteritz and myself did on our recent vacation. And today I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to show you a bunch of things that I got that are video game related and two things that are Garbage Pail Kid related. The Garbage Pail Kid related stuff we actually got in Albany, New York. I'll talk to you about that one as well. So, Lord Cash, I'm going to start today with an Atari system. Now, in a recent episode, I've talked to you about Atari 2600, Atari Jaguar. Keeping with the animal theme, have you ever heard of the Atari Lynx?
The Atari what?
Lynx. So the Atari Lynx was their answer to the Nintendo Game Boy. It was released in 1989, I believe. And Sega had their Game Gear, NEC had their Turbo Express, Atari had their Lynx. It was a handheld console that was truly ahead of its time. I'm a big fan of it. I speak pretty well of it. Graphics were full color. They very closely matched a lot of Atari's arcade games at the time. Another really cool thing that no other console, at least at that time, did was that you could actually take the whole console and flip it upside down, and the buttons would recognize that, and they made it so that way left-handed gamers could have the directional pad in their right hand.
Huh.
Very cool stuff, and again, it's very revolutionary for what it is. So I am trying to collect, like it feels like everything I say on this channel, I'm going for a complete set of Atari Lynx games. There were 73 that were released in the United States. Now, there's still a pretty popular homebrew community, meaning that they still do make games for it. I've actually gotten a couple of those, but I'm talking mostly about like the main games that came out in the series. I actually got into collecting for the Atari Lynx, and it's funny, I have a lot of similar stories to this, but I had read in a magazine that Atari Lynx had a thing that they were basically using to show it on a television because there weren't outputs. You know what I mean? It was literally on when you saw in a magazine of a Game Boy game, a lot of times it was literally a camera over the screen. Atari had a solution, and they did create a device that would allow them to output to a television or a monitor so that the game industry could take photos of their games more clearly. Bottom line, I looked up some information about developers and creators of the Atari Lynx, and I found the name of a guy. And on the internet, they gave me this guy's contact information. I'm like, what the hell? I'm a school teacher. I had nothing to do that summer. I'm going to track this guy down. I kid you not. Guy answered the phone. I'm like, okay, He's just going to BS with me. This isn't going to be real. An hour later, I was receiving 100 games, 10 Atari Lynx consoles, fully refurbished, for peanuts, because this guy was the actual one of the programmers for the Atari Lynx, and he had so many items because when Atari went out of business and they closed up, the name got sold to a French company. Basically, they couldn't get paid, so they just all said, all right, they just took product because the company didn't need it anymore. So I bought all these sealed games from the guy, again, all the consoles, and I tell you, peanuts, it really was almost nothing. So needless to say, that really pushed my collection very far ahead. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to pick up the ones that he didn't have. So to begin with, I picked up Ninja Gaiden.
Nice.
And I also picked up Baseball Heroes. The sports games on the Lynx were pretty cool. They actually were pretty well done. Again, it's sports games. It is what it is, but they are pretty well done. But they're Atari branded games. They didn't get like Madden for football, and they don't even have the MLB license for this baseball game. But that's okay. I have Ninja Gaiden 3. Moving on to that one already, and it's very weird. There was not a Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Atari Lynx, but there was a Ninja Gaiden 1. This right here is actually one of the rarer Atari Lynx games. It's not the rarest, but this is one of the harder ones to get. And when I saw this at the store, at the display case, I literally had to stop for a second because I never see this. I don't see Atari games, quite honestly, all that often either. Price is pretty good. I picked it up, no brainer. Now, this one, like I said, I did get this in Albany, New York, in a store called Vortex Games. Definitely suggest them. They're a really good store. Lots of cool vintage stuff, including video games and toys. Definitely check them out. This one I did get in New Hampshire, the Baseball Heroes. So that kind of, again, puts me a little bit farther into my collection for Atari games. And what's interesting is the thickness of these. There's two models of an Atari Lynx system and game. So the thickness, you might be able to see that on there, is basically the size of a credit card. So it's not too bad. Like, for a comparison's sake, there is a Nintendo Game Boy game. There's your little spoiler as to what's coming up next. You can even see it's about the size of the front part of the casing on a Game Boy game.
So it's even like thinner than a Switch game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's pretty thin.
Funny you mentioned that. It's like, so Atari Lynx, I have them upstairs, the model. The first round of games, they did not have this curved lip. So you would put it in the console and it'd be totally flat. And it would be very, very hard to pull it out of the back of the system. So Atari did develop the little curved top that makes it a little bit easier. There are variants of a lot of the games. You can get one or the other. You can actually get two different versions. And I'm not getting into the variants on this console just yet, but sooner rather than later. And Bitteritz can probably hear me in the other room. Her ears probably perked up. She goes, variants? And it's not because she's a low-key fan. It's because she wants all the different versions. So, but yeah, I definitely check out footage of the Atari Lynx. It'd be very hard to try to do it on our game room show. Although when I talked to the guy on the phone that developed, he had two of those conversion console cords. I was asking for one, but apparently he's leaving them to his daughter. So yeah, but I made a joke. If you ever don't get along, just here's my number. So our next thing is I am trying to collect every. God, I sound like such a crazy collector, but I am. I'm trying to get every video game, wrestling game made on any system, including Japanese and other versions like that. I like wrestling. As you know, everybody that's watching, we do have a wrestling show on Tuesday. Shameless plug, Slam Nation Wrestling, 8 o'clock. Yeah, there it is. So, there's still a lot that I need, right? But there's a couple that I surprisingly did not have. The first one is the Nintendo Game Boy version of King of the Ring. This game was put out on the Nintendo system as well. This is the exact same game, graphics and all. Literally, the difference is that it isn't not in color. Now, Lord Cash, I just have to ask, what was the first wrestling video game that you can recall playing?
I'm the one I actually played was probably the SmackDown versus Raw 2002. That time frame.
That's what I was wondering, because I mean, for everybody that doesn't know, like that's when that game came out, Lord Cash and myself played the daylights out of it. Like we really enjoyed it. We made our own characters on it. I remember you could do like snowball fights, all this like really stupid stuff in it too. But yeah, that was definitely a big one for us. I'm trying to find on here a picture of the gameplay of, okay, here we go, of this King of the Ring game. I want to give you an idea of how awesome the graphics were in this game. And I use that phrasing very lightly right here. The characters are right in that center one you can see. Everybody looked very thick, very big, not a lot of detail. And what was unfortunate is that there were no moves. It was like kick, punch, slam, drop kick, and that was about it. Like they didn't have their signature maneuvers or anything like that. There's no way to differentiate each character from the other one, which as a child, I used my imagination, right? A lot on these games, but there was still like, it was very lacking when like Yokozuna is the same size as Bret the Hitman Hart. Definitely doesn't work, you know, but I figure I'm going for them all. I have to get it. I didn't own this as a kid. I actually played this at my friend Tim's house because he owned it. And Tim has actually been on our show a couple times. If you take a look at any of our previous episodes on the New York Nerd Show Network, we do a vintage wrestling photograph show. We've done about 4 or 5 of them so far. He's actually my co-host on those ones. So anyway, I got the WWF King of the Ring 93 in the Game Boy. And this one, you can also make a connection to Lord Cash because we played the GameCube game a ton. Do you remember the GameCube wrestling game that we played at the Best Buy so much that our friend Mark and I had to basically buy it, the system just for it?
I don't.
It was a game called Ultimate Muscle. It had all these like crazy.
Yeah, I think I do remember that now.
So this is based on the Kinnikuman or muscle toys back in the 1980s. They were big in the United States, but again, there's a little bit of a revival in the series as far as for the video games. So that's what the GameCube case looked like for that. Starting to get quite a collectability, right? So there was a video game on the Game Boy Advance of this. I had never seen it. I'd always been looking for it. And wouldn't you know it, New Hampshire, a small little shop, bam, right there. I picked it up, $7.
Not bad.
Yeah, I could not pass this up. This does go for quite a bit more. I have not played it. I have not seen what it looks like. The first time I was aware of its existence was probably about 6 months ago when I saw a instruction manual at a shop. The instruction manual was like $20. So I'm like, let me see what the game goes for. I'll be checking this one out. This one we may be able to show on an episode of the Game Room because I do have the GameCube adapter to put it up on the television. Maybe we'll take a look at these ones someday. All right. Next one, very brief. There was a video game based on the Lethal Weapon movies. Were you a fan of Lethal Weapon?
I was.
So this one was based, I think it was around Lethal Weapon 3, I believe. Because Joe Pesci's in it. I don't think he was their partner in the original ones. I could be wrong, but
He may have been the second one.
Second one?
I think so, but again, I'm not 100%. As you're talking, I'm going to do some fact checking on it.
No problem. So the Lethal Weapon games, I don't know how popular they really are when it comes to, just general. But this game was actually created by a company called Ocean. Ocean made a lot of licensed games for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. One of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games was actually Addams Family. It's one of the first games I ever bought as a kid. Huge fan of it. So when the Lethal Weapon game came out, I went to the local Video King rental store and I rented it. I liked it quite a bit. I never could find it for sale when I was a kid. It wasn't until, God, probably a year or two ago that I actually was able to find a copy of the game for purchase, and I did. It's a fun side scroller with a shooting element, as you could imagine. You're not collecting block in a game of Lethal Weapon. But I picked it up loose, back in the day, and this one shop had the manual for 99 cents, or maybe it's $2. It wasn't much either way, and I grabbed it. And I know that with the, with the reflection, like the shininess, it's probably pretty hard to see. But I'm kind of a sucker for rental stickers. So this was, it's kind of annoying that it's there, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me enough to try to peel it off. But apparently, Real Action Video in Epping, New Hampshire, used to rent videos. So yeah, but if I remove this sticker, I will be charged retail value, full retail value.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so maybe I'll have to give these guys a call and see if it's okay if I take it off, because otherwise, they may be mad at me.
So Joe Pesci was in Lethal Weapon 2. However, Lethal Weapon 3 is the design of the video game that you have. That's the little guide there. So that's Lethal Weapon 3. I think it's like Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and then like written in, and Joe Pesci.
I have to watch these ones because we haven't seen them in quite some time. We're going to show in another video, by the way, of some VHS tapes that we picked up. So
there you go.
You'll be pretty interested on those. All right. Last thing that I'm going to show is I did give a little bit of a hint earlier in the episode that I did get some things that were related to GPK, of Garbage Pail Kids. And I have some. Now, these are put out by Funko. They are not Pops. These were blind box figures that were put out, I believe, I don't want to spoil, was 2015, so 6 years ago. I have 4 of them upstairs in the game room already. I found these ones at Vortex Video Games in Albany, New York. Pretty cool stuff. They can go, generally speaking, anywhere from $10 to $15 loose. And I picked up 2 of the ones that I recognize all of them, but I've got them right here. So this one right here is Clark Kent. He's got his wonderful drool and his pimples on his face. And, of course, he wears his stained underwear on the outside of his body. These are fully posable. You got the arms. I guess not fully because you can't do anything with the feet. But the heads do move. The arms move. It's funny. Like, his glasses are actually supposed to be straight. Apparently, this was, like, kept in a box or something because they're a little wonky. But for this character, it actually worked.
Right.
I'm going to try to fix it. It doesn't bother me if I keep seeing it like this. But bottom line is, I think he's pretty cool, very detailed, and the just jumps off the page, so to speak. Now, another character from that same exact wave is this one right here. Beautiful acne and braces. I mean, come on, look at that woman. She's fantastic. She's got a nice yellow jumper. Again, pretty good shape overall. Each set of these Garbage Pail Kids, I believe, are 12 in each of these mystery sets. Could be completely wrong, but I have to check to see if I'm missing any. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not looking to get a full set on these ones unless if they're there, they're there. You know what I mean? Like these guys, they were sitting on the shelf. I couldn't pass it up.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I know Lord Cash and myself, we've done a lot of Garbage Pail Kid episodes, whether it be Food Fight, whether it be, there's a lot of series, right? And we do have some tins, and I know we have a full unopened blaster box that I personally cannot wait to do. I just have to have time to sit down and spend 72 hours in a row as we go through all these cards. It's craziness.
And I've got something right here that I've been holding on to for almost a year now. That October 1st, we're going to bust into the sucker. I know.
Really?
Exactly. Garbage Pail Kid related. Just for you, all that, Pat.
Well, my mind is trickling and tripping right now. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yep, and it's going to be it'll be trying if I want to use that pun or not, but
well, I gotta say, I mean, we could talk about this all night long, but we'll have to talk a little off air, and then we'll kind of go from that point.
Yes.
Now, while we are on air, there's a lot of things that you can watch on the New York Nerd Show Network because we have had videos for, like you said, almost a year. I mean, man, we've had this channel for a long time. But if you want to check out any of our previous videos, they're all on there, especially on our YouTube page. We have well over 220 previous episodes. And then obviously, if you want to keep up with us on a weekly, daily basis, as long as we're in the area, we're able to pull it off. We do have a regular schedule. Our shows do drop typically at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, including what you're watching right now. On Sundays, we do Call the Wild. We talk about the things that we've picked up. But there's also a show called Crazy Card Collecting. We show you some crazy cards that we've picked up, a lot of retro stuff. You can see anything from Batman to bingo. You name it or you don't name it, you'll see a pack of cards coming from that. Slam Nation Wrestling hits you on Tuesdays. Wednesday is the Game Room. Thursday is I Stream, You Stream. Punko Royalty on Fridays. And Mail Call Mail Time wraps up our week on a Saturday night. Well, we do thank you so much for joining us each and every day. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe any of our channels. We do appreciate it when you do. You get notifications that we're coming on live. Sometimes we have shows that aren't even on the schedule. We do monthly contests, lots of cool stuff. We do appreciate any kind of support you can give us. Lord Cash, I know over there you are, what do you have, like 17,000 fans? Or what do you call them, groupies, cashies? What do you call your fans?
Cashaholic.
I think I've heard that. Yeah, they have T-shirts and buttons. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Well, if you guys want to get some cash in your bank, or if you need a dose of vitamin ATP, just make sure to check us out every episode, and we look forward to seeing you. Until the next time, take care of yourself and adios.